Hello, my name is Carolyn Anderson and I'm the coordinator of this year's MicroOperas, and I'm here with Landon Cina. He is the composer of the opera The Sacrifice of Isaac. So Landon, can you tell us where you're from and what's your school year and your major?
Yeah, so I am a second year master's student here at Bowling Green State University, studying music composition, and I'm originally from Central Illinois.
So how did you become a composer? Who is your composition teacher? And did any other composition teachers help you write this micro-opera?
I started writing music in middle school, little jingles, and continued doing that throughout high school. I went to my undergraduate school, Cedarville University, to study composition, thinking that I was going to be a film composer. And I have since broadened my horizons, but that was kind of where I started. I was working with Dr. Marilyn Shrewd throughout the process of writing this micro opera.
Let's talk about the libretto of your piece.
Yeah, so I co-wrote the libretto with one of my friends from my undergraduate, Skylar Cash. He's working in church ministry in the Dayton area right now, but he is a poet as well. So he wrote the centerpiece aria, and then I adapted the biblical text of the Genesis 22 story, the sacrifice of Isaac, for the remaining parts of the opera. So many people are familiar with the story of the sacrifice of Isaac from the Bible. It's Genesis 22. Basically, before the action of the opera, Abraham, who is like the father of Israel, receives this command by God to sacrifice his only son Isaac, by which he was supposed to have a great nation, be the father of a great nation. So this happens before the opera. As the action starts, Abraham and Isaac enter the scene, and at the site where the sacrifice is supposed to happen, Abraham has a struggle. The centerpiece aria is like the representation of that inner struggle before he finally resolves to obey God and follow through with the command. At this time, an angel enters and interrupts the sacrifice and reaffirms Abraham's faith and reveals that God has provided a sacrifice to take Isaac's place. So I chose this particular Bible story for two reasons. First of all, it's a shorter, very dramatic, and a very well-known story, so it lends itself really well to the operatic genre. Secondly, it's also one of the passages that is frequently misunderstood by people who do not know the text quite as well. So many people will use this passage as a way to prove that God is like a cruel or selfish God for asking for someone to make a child sacrifice. However, people miss the fact that God never really intended the sacrifice to go through in the first place. So it's a story about faithfulness, God's faithfulness, and the faith that the man Abraham has in God's promises.
Is there an unusual image or instrument or character that the audience should look for in this micro opera? And what are some of the sounds and colors we're going to hear?
Yeah, there aren't any fully developed themes necessarily, but there are a few motives. So Abraham's very first line, he enters and sings Isaac's name. That drop of a minor or major third rather from E to C. Isaac. Yes, so that right there is accompanies the name Isaac many times, as well as the word offering. So it kind of connects Isaac as the offering that is being taken place. So there's a little bit of music connection there. In addition, when the angel enters, you'll hear a very distinct change in the harmonic material. So up until then, we have kind of like this dissonant polychordal textures throughout. And then when the angel enters, we quickly change into a very sparse diatonic harmonies there. So there's a very clear distinction between like the physical world of Abraham and Isaac and the entrance of the spirit angel with the diatonic harmonies.
Cool. Now that you describe it, I completely agree. I hear it as a listener.
So this was definitely a new experience for me. I would say, apart from a few art songs and like a chamber choir piece, this is one of the few vocal pieces I have. So it was definitely interesting writing, especially a longer form for voices. Most of my stuff is instrumental. However, despite that, a lot of the techniques that I use for instrumental composition still applied to how I created this, just taking small ideas and developing them into larger structures.
And where can we learn more about you? Do you have a website or a YouTube channel or or professional Instagram page?
So you can find me, my Facebook page on Facebook, LK Cina Music. I also have a SoundCloud with some of the recordings of my music, and you can find me by searching LK Cina as well.
Come see The Sacrifice of Isaac and many other micro operas on February 9th in Bryan Recital Hall at 8 p.m. And thank you for watching.